Welcome to Rise and Shine Daily Business Tech Boost with me, Charly Leetham. If you're a small business owner looking to simplify technology and get real, actionable advice from someone with 35 years of IT experience, you're in the right place. Every episode, I'll dive into tools and systems like email, CRM, marketing and tracking, and break them down into bite-sized tips you can use right away. Your time is valuable, so let's get straight to the point. It's time to work smarter, not harder. Rise and shine. It's your daily dose of business tech inspiration with me, Charly Leetham. Episode number 459 today, and I'm going to be going through one of my most favorite plugins, the one that is my go-to contact form. There are a lot of contact form plugins out there, and I know some people love one and some people love another, and we all tend to settle on one or the other. And if you want a free contact form, then contact form 7 is okay. I just find it's not as feature rich and it can cause me problems. So I settled on a premium plugin called Gravity Forms. I have been using that for donkey's ages, years. I honestly couldn't tell you. It's more than 10 years now that I've been using it. I pay my license fee every year, and every time I install it to go and do something, I thank my lucky stars that I have it. I know, it sounds weird, right? Gravity Forms is a form builder. It has a number of functions available to it. You can use it just as a basic form, like a contact form or a feedback form. You can run surveys off of it. There are add-ons that will allow you to do polls and quizzes. That's the word I'm looking for, quizzes and such. You can create a very small e-commerce site off of it, put products in and have it charged to Stripe or PayPal or one of the other. There's a couple of gateways that it will allow you to take payments through. It's a nice little form. The other reason I like it is it's extendable. I can write custom functions that takes the input that's given to you in your really slick looking contact form, does things with it, and then presents it back to you or sends it through to another system. So it's really great for me when I'm trying to do API coding or I'm trying to integrate third-party systems and get information out of WordPress from the visitor to WordPress across to another system while still keeping the user in the WordPress system. So that's why I like Gravity Forms. Apart from the fact that it's been around for years, it works out of the box. It has excellent support and it's got some really good community support around it. So that's why I like Gravity Forms. And today what I want to do is show you how I install Gravity Forms, just the basic Gravity Forms, how to create a form and how to put it into your block builder. So let's go through that, shall we? Here we are on our demo site. I have actually removed all of our plugins off of this demo site. There's nothing on there at this point. So when you come in, we're going to go to we're on the dashboard. As you just saw, I've got no plugins installed. So I'm going to go and add a plugin and I will be back with you in just a moment. So I'm going to go and add a plugin. Now, because this is a premium plugin, it's not available in the WordPress repository library. So I'm going to click on the add a new plugin and then I'm going to go to the upload plugin option here. I will be back with you in just a moment once I have uploaded my plugin because I don't want to take you through where all my plugins are hidden. There's so much on my screen at the moment. So just bear with me while I go and do that and I will be back with you. Okay, so you'll see I've found where my Gravity Forms zip file is. I've done the choose file, I've put it in there. We're going to click on install. It's going to take the file off of my computer and it's upload it to my WordPress website. And it's there, and now it's asking me to activate the plugin. So we'll just wait till that activates now. You'll see when you come in, it's asking you to register your copy of Gravity Forms to enable automatic updates. Do that first of all. If you don't have a license key, you can click here to purchase one, or in the show notes for this episode, I actually have my affiliate link. I get a small commission out of anything that you buy from that. It certainly helps me keep these tutorials going. So I do appreciate it if you do use that link, but you can purchase one through the link that's here. So to register your copy of Gravity Forms, click on the register. It's going to ask you to enter your license key. Now that will come, you can get that out of your Gravity Forms dashboard on the Gravity Forms website. It will be emailed to you, or do what I do, and I actually have it in my CRM so that I can go and grab it. So I'm going to go and get my license key now, and I'm going to enter it in there. So my license key has been added. It will be blurred out for this, but there is a license key there that I'm going to use. Okay, once you've done that, it's going to ask if you want to keep background updates enabled or disabled. It will download important bug fixes, security enhancements, plugin updates automatically. It's enabled by default. You can turn it off. Now, my recommendation, I'm such a control freak, but my recommendation is that you do keep it enabled. It will put the minor updates on. You still are going to have to go in every now and again and do the major updates. I run updates on my sites once a week, whether they need it or not. And trust me, it's not that they never need it. They always need an update in one place or another. But for Gravity Forms, I do keep the background updates enabled. It's going to ask you to set a currency. Remember what I said about it. Remember what I said about it being able to be used to do a small e-commerce setup. You set your currency here. I would absolutely go through and have all this set up, even if you're not going to use it in the first instance. Even if you never end up using it, at least it's set up ready to go. So choose your currency. Keep no conflict mode disabled. This often happens when we have problems with other plugins and themes and we need to do some testing. This is one of the things we'll use when we're doing the testing. You can leave it as off, and I always put my toolbar menu on, and that gives me forms in the admin menu. I'm going to click next. And now it's telling me that my installation is complete. Now the first thing I'm going to do is go back to my plugins menu here. And the reason I did that is because I uploaded this off of my computer. It is a slightly older version. Well, it's a very older version of Gravity Forms. So to do this, we're just going to update it and pull down the updates. Now you can't do the updates with Gravity Forms until you have your license key enabled and it's activated. So yes, you might have a copy of Gravity Forms that you think you can use. Without the license key, you're not going to get the updates, and trust me, it will cause you problems in the long run. And now we'll just wait for the updates to run. Okay, so the updates are run. We can tell that it's been successful because it's a green bar. It's got the green tick. It says it's updated. Now we can go and create a form. So back to the forms menu. When Gravity Forms enabled, you get a forms menu just under your media items, and it's got that little stylized G for Gravity Forms. So we're going to click on Forms. And it's giving us all the things that have been added in the latest version of 2.9. So it's always worthwhile reading the release notes for an update, seeing what is and isn't there. I'm not going to go through them because we're just going to do a really basic form today. So to create a form in Gravity Forms, you click Add New. One of the benefits is you can download existing templates if you want. I would recommend playing around with those. I'm just going to create a very simple basic form. So let me just go back to that. When it says Explore Form Templates, I just choose the blank form one on the far left-hand side. I'm going to call this a contact form. You can put a description here. Contact form to get details. Okay. I'm going to create blank form down the bottom right-hand side. So now the form has been created, it is blank. You can see there's nothing in here. To be able to create your form, there are so many options. Your fields are across here on the left-hand side. I'm just going to squeeze everything up so we can have a look at all of our options. We've got standard fields, we've got advanced fields, we've got post fields, we've got pricing fields. I'll go through some of these today. I'm not going to go through all of them. When we want to do a contact form. First thing we're going to need is a name. Now, if you have a look here under standard forms, we can do single text forms. Got a whole heap of options, but under advanced forms, we have a name form. So I'm just going to click and hold that and drag it across to my form. Now you'll see when you've got the name form, it gives you a first and a last name automatically and it calls it name. We want to have a look at the properties of that. Just do that. So I've clicked out of it. We've still got our forms, our fields here. If you actually click on the field, this is a field that you've just put in, you'll see that it goes to the field settings tab on the left hand side. We can tell we're on name because it says so at the top. We can call the field name whatever we want. So if you want to say, instead of just name and you want it to be a little nicer, you can say your name. You can put a description. We'll come back to where that's used in a minute. And then here under name fields, you'll see you've got a couple of options that you can use, or several options you can use. You can ask for a prefix. So how are we going to address you? Is it Mr., Mrs., Ms., whatever, doctor? I don't know what else you put in there as a prefix. The first name, if you want to get their middle name, you can ask for a middle name. If you want, let me just move that out of the way. Okay, that's fine. If you want a middle name, you can ask for a middle name. You can ask for a last name. You can ask for a suffix. Where did prefix go? Didn't show up. Okay, so it was a bit broken. There we go. So now we've got prefix, first, middle, last, suffix. Honestly, if you're going to do a really basic contact form, you want to make it as easy as possible for them to enter. You might want first and last name. You might just want first name. I tend to ask for first and last name. This custom sub-label where it says prefix, first, middle, you see here where you've got first name, first and last. If I was to change that to first name, you see it changes that label over here, and then last name. And then here's where our custom description has come in. Please let us know who we're talking to. So that's how you add a name field with Gravity Forms. Let's go add some more. The other thing we're going to want is an email address. So because we're on a contact form, have a look under advanced fields. You'll see that they've got an email field all ready to go for you. You can click over there, click on it to get our field details up. You can put email, or if you want to be a little nicer, where should we communicate? Okay. Now, if you do this enable an email confirmation option, my computer's being bad today, you'll see that you've got this confirm email option. So they'll have to enter their email address twice, and they enter their email address twice so that you make sure they've typed it correctly. Again, because I want this to be as easy as possible for people to communicate with me, I take away the hurdles that are going to stop them communicating with me. Confirming the email may or may not work. It could be okay. Like I said, though, any hurdle that's going to stop them filling in the form, I want to remove. The other thing that you'll notice, if I click on both of these and scroll down, we have a rules field here and it says, is it required? If we click on required, it's going to say, yes, you need to give me your first and last name. If we go down to our email address, we're going to make that required because we do need that required. The no duplicates, I will cover that here. It's not going to bother us because it's a contact form. I don't care how many times people contact me from my contact form with the same email address. If you are creating user logins, for example, if you are trying to create a membership database, you might want to make sure that things like your email address or your names are unique. So you don't want to have duplicates going through this process. Again, we're doing a really simple system, so we don't want, this isn't a concern for us. What else do we need here? Oh, we want to ask them to send us a message. So back to our fields, our messages are under standard fields, and it's called a paragraph text. In Gravity Forms, it's paragraph text. And if we drag it over, and you'll see it says untitled. Now, if we click on it, we can say your message. And this is going to let them type in as much information. Well, this is going to let them type in information to us. So we're asking them to give us their name, we're asking them to give us their email address, and then we're asking them why they're contacting us. You can put the description in. This maximum number of characters, if you don't want to get pages and pages and pages of information here, you can restrict it to 350 characters or 200 characters or 1,000 characters, whatever it is, but it's characters, not words. You can make it required, you can make it no duplicates. What else do we have here? Okay, now we've got the basic information we want from them. We're going to look at the submit button. So with the submit button, you come down, you click on the submit button. It says field settings. Do we want it text or do we want it an image? If you wanted an image, you need to put the URL of the image that you're uploading, that you want to use. Now, it's not recommended that you use images for submit buttons, and you're getting a little notice here saying the image button is not accessible for users who rely on a screen reader. Please use a text button to improve the accessibility of your form. So you're getting nice little hints and tips as you go along. It's going to go to the text and we're going to say send message. So yeah, for me, this is about not only just creating a quick and simple form, it's about making it easy for my visitors to use and friendly enough that it sounds like I actually want to talk to them. All right, so that's your basic contact form. There are a few other things that we should talk about here. I'm just going to save the form so we don't lose our changes. So save form is up here on the top right hand side. Make sure you do save it. There's a couple of things that we should be looking at here. Let's just go to our name field. And you'll see we have an appearance field or an appearance option in the field settings. If you bring that down, it's going to ask you if you want to have placeholders. So a placeholder, I'll just put it on the first name here, is that text that appears in the field. So you see here we've got first in the field. When you click into it and start typing, it disappears. That's called placeholder text. So if you're not using labels, and I'll come back to how we do that later in another video, otherwise this one's going to go forever because there's so many things to do. You can use placeholder, but I'll just get rid of that for now. The field label visibility, so we can customize where the labels appear on a field by field basis in Gravity Forms. So field label visibility, it's visible top aligned. So I can make it hidden. And if I make it hidden, you see here it says hiding the label can make it difficult. I'm going to go back here and I'm going to say first name. Now, the accessibility tip here is telling us that because it doesn't say name, people might have trouble viewing it. You'll see I still got first name under it, and I've now put the placeholder text in. So we can hide it. The description placement, where I've put in text, if you've put in text but you don't want it to appear, you just delete it so that it doesn't show up. You can, with description placement, put it below the inputs or above the inputs. So if we stick it above the inputs, you'll see here that you can actually give it an introduction using the description. Just going to make it form settings. What else? Oh, the sub-label placement. So these sub-labels here, the first name and the last name, you can hide it. You can put it above the inputs. So it makes it even more friendly. You can put it below the inputs where it was, or you can hide it. So you can customize these fields based on a field by field basis. I'm not going to go into the rest of this because there is so much here. So that's appearance, advanced. I'm not going to cover advanced in this case. I am going to come down to our submit button. And what we're going to look here with our submit button is we're going to look at submit button conditional logic. And if we click on this, it flies out a window and it says enable conditional logic. We enable it. We can say show this button if all the following match. So you can say if your first name starts with contains, has entered, you can actually say only show this button if these conditions are met. Email address is greater than, is less than, contains, starts with, enter. So it contains, we can say only show this if your email address contains an @ So that's how you can do there's other ways of doing validation around email addresses, but that's how you can confirm that the email address is correct, by not showing the submit button until that condition is met. I'm going to turn that off. I have used, just so you know, I have used this conditional logic for when I want to have I accept your privacy terms and conditions. I'll put a checkbox on here. I'll say, do you accept the privacy terms and conditions? And this won't show until they've ticked that box. But I'll do that in another video so we're not confusing things too much. Let's just go back to our field here. We're going to take the placeholder text out. And I'm going to show my information here. I'm going to click save. Other settings to consider on your form before you start embedding it in your website. The settings menu here, this is the settings per form. You've got settings for Gravity forms, and then you can have settings on each form. So we're going to go down to form settings to begin with. If you want to change the name, if you've typed the name wrong or you've changed what it is and you want to give it a better name, you can, it's under form settings, under form title, you can say contact form. You can change the description. You can change the default layouts for all of the labels and such here. So if you just want everything to be bottom aligned or left aligned or right aligned, you can choose that. This will affect all fields on the form. Where you want the description, do you want it above or below the inputs? Where do you want the message validation, above or below the inputs? Where do you want your label placement? So you can set this globally for the form and then go in and change each of the fields individually to give you a nicer format. There we go, that's the word I'm looking for. I'm not going to go into save and continue. I'm not going to do any of these restrictions yet. I really am just wanting to do a basic form. Form options. Whatever you do with your forms, please make sure you have the anti-spam honeybot enabled. At the very least, it's going to protect you from some level of spam. Please go back and have a look at my other video about using WordPress zero spam, or zero spam for WordPress and zero spam for Gravity forms. It gives you just that extra level of spam protection as well. I personally always have it marked as create an entry and mark it as spam. That way, if there are any false positives, it will go into the system. It will be marked as spam and I'll be able to see it and act on it. We don't worry about animated transitions and don't worry about legacy markup. You only ever have to worry about this if you're using an older theme and things are going wrong. I'm going to click Save Settings. That is our form settings for the contact form. Confirmations are equally as important. So when someone has submitted the form, we have a couple of options on how we can tell them that the form has been submitted. That's called a confirmation. We're confirming that the form has been submitted. We've got default confirmation here. I'm only going to work on that one. I'm going to click on edit. This is there as standard. You'll see that the default setup for a form is to just display text. So when you hit submit, the text comes up where the form was. It says, thanks for contacting us. We'll be in contact with you shortly. I would highly recommend doing something more there than just thanks for contacting us. How long is it going to take you to get back to them? What can they expect next? Is there something you want them to go and look at? Is there something they can be doing, getting ready for you to get in touch with them? The other thing that I really like here is that you've got two options. You've got a page redirect, or you can send them to a page, or you can just do a custom redirect. If you select page, you can select a page on your existing site, an existing page on the site. The page does have to be published to appear here, but you can send them to a custom thank you page, for example. This is great if you want to do a lead magnet. You want to have them come through the site, fill in the form, and then you're going to give them something for free. You can set up your freebie, your gift page, and then when they've submitted, they just go through to the gift page that says, thanks so much for submitting. That's okay, we'll come back to that. Redirect, you can put in a custom URL. So if you want to send them to a post, if you want to send them off-site, and I wouldn't recommend sending visitors off your website. You want to keep them on your site. You want your site to be as sticky as possible. But you can do a custom URL redirect here as well. Not going to worry about passing the field data via query string this time. Again, so much stuff we can do. We're just going to, I'll come back to that one in another video. Confirmation type text. We're just going to say thanks for contacting us. We'll be in touch with you shortly. Notifications, oops, we've got to make sure when you do that, make sure you save the changes. Notifications, this is what happens when the form is submitted. They get the confirmation to say, hey, you've submitted your form. What happens next? So the notifications tend to be emails. Well, they are emails. I just clicked on that while I was talking. I should have given you the intro. There we go. Admin notification is set up as default. You can see what the submission is, new submission from form title. I'm going to go in and edit it. So the name is admin notification. So when the form is submitted, this is what the site admins receive. You can send to an email address. You can select a field off your form to email, or you can configure routing. Routing allows for notifications to be sent to different email addresses depending on values selected in the form. This is an advanced technique. We'll come back to that one. When we're sending to someone, particularly like our contact form, the only email address we've got on our contact form is the person who wants us to contact them. So we're not going to say select a field. We're going to say enter email. By default, Gravity Forms will put this curly brace admin underscore email close curly brace. That takes the email address that you've used in your settings menu, your settings general menu over here, and it will email that person. If you want it to be someone else, you just type it in. You just type the address in, make sure you've got your @ in there, and when the form submits, it will go to the email address you type in here. So you can have it as admin email, I think that's what it was, we'll check that in a minute, or you can type in an email address. The from name, now this is where it's really cool. By default, it will just pick up whatever the website has got. If you've got this left blank, it will come from the website. You can actually customize this. So the from name, I like to. You see across here we've got the curly brace, the 2 dots and the closed curly brace. If you mouse over it, it says insert merge tags. I'm going to click on that. You can choose the fields that you want to show in here, or the contents of the fields you want to show in here. So from the from name, I'm going to say your first name, space, your last name. Okay, your name first, your name last. So now this is going to say, let's say I fill in the form, it's going to say Charly Leetham. So when it comes into my inbox as the admin person, it's going to say Charly Leetham with the address. The from address, now this is where people really get tripped up. The tempting thing to do here, let me just move that out of the way. The tempting thing to do here is to, let's just get rid of admin email. The Problem is, if you use their email address to send from your website, and this is a key point here. If you use their email address to be the from address on the form that submits from your website, it will get spammed. It won't get through to you. And the reason it won't get through to you is because the website that this is sending this form is not authorized to send on behalf of the sender's email address. I will guarantee it. The only time that will work for you is if you're using your own domain name that you have authorized your server to send from. So don't fall into the trap of making the email address from the form here. Here's what I would do. I would do no reply at mydomainname.com. Now, this mydomainname.com, that's the one that has got the authorization or has authorized the website to send on my behalf. There's a slightly more advanced tutorial that I will end up doing about using authorized domain names and how to configure your server and your SPF and your DKIM and your DMARC to make sure that these forms get through. But for now, just make it no reply at mydomainname.com and assume that your domainname.com has been authorized by your server. We'll come back to using another plugin to make this work, or another method to make this work if you're having spam issues later. The reply to is where you can use their email address. So I'm going to go over here to the insert merge tags, and here is where I'm going to put their email address. So what that's going to do is when the form comes into your inbox, it's going to say from Charly Leetham, email address no reply at mydomainname.com. But in the reply to, if you were to open that email up and then hit reply, it will have the email address that I entered on the form. Really tricky stuff. Like, people don't realize it, and I know that it kind of blows the mind sometimes, but that reply to address is just key to resolving a lot of these issues. You can also BCC replies to people. So if you want to have a VA, or you have a system that will automatically log emails for you, you can BCC it there. The subject line, this is required. The default is new submission from form title. I tend to do like something like website contact. So you just type in what you want. From, again, merge tags, your first name, your last name. So now when it comes in, it's going to have a subject line that says website contact from. The reason I like to set all of these things up is, first of all, it's nice for you. You get to see it. It makes sense when you see it in your inbox. The second thing is you can set up filters on your inbox to capture a lot of this stuff. If it comes from no reply at mydomainname.com, you can do things. If the subject line has website contact from, you can put it in there. If you didn't want to say website contact, you could say your company name contact from. Whatever works for you here, but you can really make this look really slick, and it just makes it that much nicer when you're trying to work in your email and your website is up and running and humming along and you're getting these contact forms coming in. You know what they are. The last thing is the message, and this is the message where all of that information that is submitted on forms comes through to you. Honestly, unless I am communicating back out with the person submitting it, I leave it as all fields. It will give you all of the information you need. It's nicely formatted. You can go through it. You can pull the information out. If you wanted to be a little more clever about it though, let me just copy that out. Hi there. I'm going to just type in a message. Again, we've got merge tags here for the field. Visited your site and has some questions. Here's the details. Name, your first name, space, your last name, email, email address and message. And now because it's likely a long message, I'm actually going to put an enter, and I'm going to your message. There we go. Now you'll notice that there were other things in there. So let's just go through the other fields that you could actually put in. Go down to the merge fields. You can get the IP address that they visited the site from. You can put in the date that the form was submitted. So you can do it in month, month, day, day, year, 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 or day, day, month, month, year, year, year. You can put the page ID of where this form was submitted from. So which page were they on? If you don't want their page ID, because honestly, numbers mean nothing to me, you could put the page title. You could put the URL of the page that they were on when they submitted this form. You could give it an entry, you could put the entry ID. So this, okay, let's come back to those 2 points. That's really good. Entry ID and entry URL. When Gravity Forms submits the form, it saves a copy of in the database. And you can put the entry URL onto your email. So if you want to go in and have a look at it in the Gravity Forms information panel, you can do that just by clicking that URL. There's a whole heap of other things. I'm not really going to do anything more there. You've got a few ideas there that you can use. Let's get rid of that. Okay, we want to make changes to that. We're going to say update notification. I would strongly recommend, I'll come back to that error message in a minute. I would strongly recommend, at the very least, when you're first starting out, leave your message as all fields, all underscore fields, and use that. It's formatted perfectly well, and you get all of the information that you need. If you wanted to be clever, you could absolutely change that message around. Now you'll notice here that Gravity Forms is giving us a warning. It's got the little exclamation point in the triangle. Warning: using a third-party email as a from email field may prevent your notification from not being delivered or from being delivered. It's best to use an email with the same domain as your website. Yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. I put mydomainname.com because I wanted to give you an example. Like I said, the domain name has to be authorized, or the website has to be authorized by the domain name to send on behalf of it. Okay. Let's just go back to notifications. This is the email that is sent to you as the admin. Sometimes, and I would recommend in general, you should also send an email to the person who submitted the form confirming that you've got it. So click on Add New on the top right hand side in the notifications menu. Click on Add New. We're just going to add a new one. We're going to say recipient. It just needs to mean something to you. No one else sees this except you, really. The send to email, in this case, we are going to select a field. And the field we're going to select is the email address they entered. That's how we know who to send it to. They've given us their email address. We can send this off. The from name, I always put my business name, not my business name. Okay. You might want to just put your first name. I honestly, you're trying to be as professional as possible. You're trying to make sure that you're not going to scare people off. So make sure when you put your from name that it means something to them. Don't just say Charlie. Don't just say Sarah. Don't just say Gertrude or Michael. Give them some context as to why they're getting this email. And the best place one of the places you can start doing that is in the from name. You may put, for example, Charlie from my business name. Whatever works for you there, whatever looks good for you, whatever meets the energy of your company works well there. The from email, it can be the admin email. I honestly would recommend not using your admin email, even if it is the same admin email even if the admin email is the same one that you use, I'd recommend using something else here. The reason I'm really not fussed on using admin email is I administer sites for people. The admin email on sites is my name because it sends me information when plugins don't update, when we've got an issue with the site. I get those emails. I don't want to be the one that is the one that's putting out the emails on behalf of my client. So here again, I would normally put no reply at mydomainname.com. Whatever you put here has to be authorized. So the website has to be authorized by the domain name to send again. Same issues that we had with the admin notification. You've got to have that. It's the same thing here. Wherever you have a from email, you have to be that the website has to be authorized by the domain name that you use there. Again, I'll come back to the more advanced way of resolving this later. If you're having spam issues, or if you're having problems with spam issues, if you're having problems with the forms not getting delivered, I'll almost guarantee you that this is where the problems are. Almost. Like 80% of the time, that's where my issue is. Like I said, I use no reply. You could use something else, but I use no reply. You could use website. How about website? That's the other way of saying it, my website ad. But here in the reply to, you can have the email address that you actually want them to respond to. So if they go to that email and they need to get back to you and they want to follow up with you and they hit reply, yes, it's going to look like they're going to send to website, but in their toolbar, it's going to say info at. Okay, so this reply to is absolutely key. Again, you can BCC. Here, you put your subject line. Thanks for getting in touch. And I love to personalize things. So I'm going to put their first name. Thanks for getting in touch, first name. This is where you wouldn't use the all field system. This is where you wouldn't use that tag. Here is where you want to have the nice email. Let's say we want to make this look a little prettier. So you'll see this is it's the same on your admin notifications, by the way. This is a text editor. We've actually got a WYSIWYG editor here. You've got the 3 bars, the toolbar toggle. If you click on that, you've got a whole heap more options that you can add in. You can do a whole heap of things here. Unfortunately, you can't add an image easily here. In another video, I'll show you how you can put an image in this email so that you can have a nice little header bar on it. For now, we're just going to keep it really simple. We're going to say, hi, first name. Thanks so much for getting in touch. This email confirms that your request has been received and will be in touch within 3 business days. In the meantime, have you had chance to look around the site? We've got a great article about XYZ that you can view here. XYZ article, okay? All the best, Charlie. Okay, so here you'll see that what I'm trying to do is redirect them back to the website. Where I've got XYZ article, I can just highlight it. I can click insert a link. Can I do, and if I just start typing in the name, it comes up with the name of the page that I want to link. And now we've got a link in there. So when this goes out to them, we're going to have this really nice little message that says, hey, we'll be in touch. And oh, by the way, have you checked this out? So if you want to start getting information out to your people without using an autoresponder and just have maybe invite them back to the website, this is a great way of doing it. Okay. You can, of course, let's see, highlight different things, and you can bold, you can italic, You can unbold, you can unitalic. So you can do some real formatting here and make things look a little prettier. Make sure you say update notification. Wow, okay, let's go back to notifications here. So now we have an admin notification, now we have a recipient. We've set up our settings, we've done our confirmations. This form is ready to go. Great, Charlie, how do we put it on a page? So this is our form. What I am going to do is I'm going to go to our pages menu and a new tab, and we're going to go to the sample page. Now remember, this is just using the block editor. So we're just going to do this using a block editor. And what I want to do is at the end of our page here, I want to put our form in here. We want to put our form in right at the end of the page. Across here at the top top left-hand side, the other right-hand side, Charlie, where it says toggle block inserter, we can toggle that, and we should, if I'm right, if you type gravity into the search bar there, you'll see we've got a gravity block. You can just drag that over and drag it wherever we want it. Now we have a gravity block in the page. We can select the form. We've only got one form. Select the form, and it puts the form in there for you. Click save. And now if I go and do a view page, and scroll to the bottom, there's our form. Our form is there. It's ready to go. It looks pretty reasonable straight out of the box. You'll see that we've got this contact form to get details. So let's actually put the details in here, I think. Can I? We're going back into, I'm sorry, I've just flicked back to the screen where I've got the contact form. Yes, cool. Make sure your field is highlighted, and then on the right-hand side, make sure block is highlighted as well. You can show the form title, you can show the form description. If you turn those off, now you've just got the form. So if you wanted to put in some text above it saying, why don't you get in touch, you can do that. You don't have to have the form title or the form description showing. Okay, I've saved that. I'm just going to refresh the screen. Now we've got our form here. What I'm going to do, just to finish off this demonstration, is we're going to enter okay, so I've just filled it out. I'm going to click send, and you'll see here it says thanks for contacting us. We'll be in touch with you shortly. That was the notification. If I go back into our gravity forms, go to our forms again under the forms menu. If you mouse over your contact form, you'll see you've got an entries option. And if I click on entries, you can see that I've submitted the form, and you can even go in and have a read of it. What this does for you, it gives you all of the entries that went in on a per field basis. It gives you the entry ID, it tells you when it was submitted, it tells you the user ID it was submitted from. Under the notes, it tells you when it was added, it tells you it was passed off to email for sending, says it was passed off to, so this is the admin notification was passed off to email for sending. The recipient notification was sent off to the mail system for sending. This is not a guarantee. I'm going to say it again. This is not a guarantee that it actually gets through. You still got to go through all of your spam protection methods to make sure, techniques, to make sure that your form is actually delivered to where it needs to go. The only other thing that I really want to show you here under entries is you can resend the notification. So you can resend the admin notification, and you can send that to someone else. If you type an email address in here, it will send the admin notification for the form to the email address you send in there. You can also resend the recipient email to whatever email address that you put in there. Okay, guys, let's go back. The last thing, the final last thing before I come back and have a chat to you, on the forms menu, you can see your form, you can see the ID number, and you can see how many entries it's had. You'll also be able to see how many views it's got. So if you want, and the conversion rate. So that's also really good if you're just trying to get a feel for, are people visiting the page and not filling in the form? Is this a problem for me? It can give you some very basic metrics that you can start using. Okay, let me come back and have a chat to you guys. Okay, that was a long one, another long one. Like I said, Gravity Forms is probably one of my favorite, well, it is my favorite content plugin. There is so much you can do with it. As you saw, it's very configurable. You've got a lot you can do just straight out of the box, even just for a simple contact form. There are other things that I will go through with it, some of the more advanced options that you have, how you create different types of forms, different things you can do. If you've got questions and things about how you can use the contact form, or you've got an idea of like, I'd really like to use my contact form to do this thing, or my form to do this thing, let me know. Put some comments in, ask me some questions, come across to my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com, join the conversation there. I'm happy to do tutorials till the cows come home, to be perfectly honest. This is fun for me. This is where I really, really enjoy doing it, and I really hope you're getting things out of what I'm sharing with you. As I said at the beginning of the video, there is a link in the show notes for Gravity Forms. It is my referral link. I will get a small commission out of anything you purchase off of it. If you purchase anything, there is absolutely no pressure. I totally appreciate anything you can do to support me. It helped me keep making these videos as well. If you have questions, leave them wherever you are watching or listening to this video. Come across to my locals community, askcharlyleetham.locals.com. Yes, I know I just all did that. If this video was useful to you, please give it a like. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel and ring the notification bell so you find out when I drop more content. And I will see you all tomorrow. Bye, guys. Hey there, thanks so much for tuning in to Rise and Shine, your daily business tech boost. I hope today's episode gave you some actionable insights that will make your business tech work smarter for you. If you found value, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share it with other small business owners who could use a daily boost. For more tips, tools, and resources, visit www.askcharlyleetham.com. Until next time, keep rising, keep shining, and let's make tech simple together.